Women's football wasn't always the underdog. In fact, over 100 years ago, it was pulling in huge crowds. During World War I, when many men were off fighting, women were working in factories, and those factories decided to band together and make football teams. The games became very popular. They would attract spectators, charities, and thousands of fans. In 1920, the Dick Kerr ladies played at Goodison Park to 53,000 fans, and official reports state that there were thousands of fans that actually had to be turned away. Now, at the time, that was one of the biggest crowds that football had ever seen. One of the biggest misconceptions is that women's football was bigger than men's football. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Men still had more players and more teams. However, at the time, women's football was a huge success. It was growing fast, gaining lots of attention and proving that it had a real audience for the game. Then came the twist in 1921, because women can't have anything nice, can we? Where FA actually banned women from playing on any FA affiliated pitches. The official claim was that football is unsuitable for females. Many historians believe that it was sexism and misogyny, and personally, I believe that as well. However, I also believe the fact that the men's football teams maybe felt a little bit intimidated by how popular the women's teams were, that the FA decided to do something about it. They felt threatened by how popular women's football had become, and they didn't like it because it damaged their tiny little egos. So overnight, the women's teams lost access to many stadiums, arenas, fans, everything. The game obviously didn't disappear, it was just dominated by men, and the most surprising part is that ban actually lasted 50 years. That's until 1971. So despite losing half a century of development, look at what the women's teams have done now. In 2022, the Lionesses actually won England's first major international trophy since 1966. They beat Germany 2-1 at Wembley. This is what is known as the European Championship, and they actually broke scoring records and filled out stadiums across the country. In 2023, they won the women's first finalissima against Brazil at a sold-out Wembley. They then reached the final of England's first Women's World Cup, however, they sadly lost to Spain. But still a massive achievement. And the success didn't stop there. The Lionesses went on to achieve another European Championship in 2025, securing themselves as one of the best football teams in the world. So when you compare men's and women's football, it's important to note that men have never had that taken away from them, whereas women went 50 years without being able to play a game, and they have still won more championships than the men's England team. And that's why women just do it better.